Hello there. I'm Tom Shark, and we're about to grind for a fish. Last time I was grinding for tarantulas. I got sick of that because it sucked, and island RNG is still a thing. So now, instead of just running around grinding for tarantulas and letting every single one of them run into the wall because the game just wanted to be like that, now I'm gonna dig up a bunch of clams and I'm gonna make them into fish bait, and we're gonna go try to catch a what's it called? I think it's a golden striped salmon? Something along those lines. I'm gonna look at it really quick. What? Ooh, 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 ooh. Controller's drifting. Why is the recording being like this? What is going on? What is happening right now? It looks like some weird, like, music video. Alright, well, I'm gonna hard be right back. See you guys in a hot second. Alright. After that little vaporwave light show I just kind of threw onto the screen, or that just got thrown onto my screen, now back to catching clams. But in all seriousness, it is nice to be back doing one of these, because, well, I mean, it's not really back. It's not like I went anywhere. It's probably been like a week since I actually recorded another one. I don't even know what day is it? It is April 16th. I think I recorded the other one actually a week ago. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I'm right now, objective number 1, get clams, because they make fish bait, and once we get fish bait, we're going up into the hills, and we're gonna go fishing for oh yeah, I forgot, I was gonna check the what the fish was. A golden trout. Alright, and it's the right time. Ooh, I was not moving the controller there. We got some drifts, baby. Alright, so right now we need clams to make fish bait, because in the hills, in the river hills, where the golden trout spawns, not a lot of fish show up, and I'm not about to run up and down every 2 seconds. So this is the most efficient way I'm probably gonna do it. And the way I'm going to make this absolute max efficiency is I'm gonna make sure to catch exactly 29 clams. No, I'm gonna catch 28, because the number of uses that a normal fishing rod has is 30 on the dot, and if you hit the 30th, it breaks. You're done. But if you make it to 29 and then customize it, the uses get reset, so you don't have to remake a new one. You just have to spend a customization kit to like spruce it up. So that's what we're gonna do. And so that means I get 28, maybe 29 if there's a fish when I get there. I get 28 or 29 chances to catch one each trip. So this could go on for a while. But that's why this is a cast. Oh yeah, just like last time, I got a nice little Arnold Palmer in front of me. But the Padre pulled the clutch food run for social distancing and got me some of the limeade stuff that I use to make my little Arnold Palmer lime concoction, and it is the most delicious thing. It didn't turn out as fizzy as I would like. I'm not moving the controller, by the way. Normally, like last time I made it, the top got really, really, like, fizzy and really, or not fizzy, but really, foamy, and I really like that. But, it's a little bit, there's like a little bit around the rim, but it's nothing crazy. I've already gone through almost half of it now, just because, like, during setup, I was just like, yummy! But this'll last me a while. Probably have to, I'm calling it now, I'm probably gonna have to pee really badly, again, at the end of this podcast, and that's probably what's gonna end it. It happened last time, it's probably gonna happen again. Alright, how many claims are we at? 13, I think? Yeah, 13. That means, watch me do math, 15 left to go. Or now 14. Very recently, I talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, but I watched through Avatar: The Last Airbender after not watching it for a really long time, and that was a great time. I really enjoyed it. But clam. And afterwards, I watched a bunch of interviews by for Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino about how they created the show, and I remember one thing that they said in one of the podcasts was like they didn't really know they wanted to do animation at first when they were in college, that was, and I think it was Konietzko that said once he saw the Studio Ghibli movie Princess Mononoke in like a like student theater, or like a small theater like near his college, like once he saw that, it taught him, or it like really opened his eyes to the power of storytelling through animation. And when I heard that, I was like, this movie sounds like awesome then. Like, if this is what inspired the creators of one of my favorite shows, then I gotta check this out. So I got it for my birthday, which was like 2 weeks ago now, a little over 2 weeks ago now. And I didn't buy it, or I mean, if I did buy it purely because they said it was good, that's not really a bad thing, but I also just, everything I've ever seen of it before was, like, looked awesome. So I figured, like, what could go wrong? It was like $15, it was just like, whatever, like, let's go for it. And so I got it, I think a couple days after my birthday, because, you know, shipping is going ham nowadays. And I watched it, and I was like, oh my god, this movie blew me away. It was, it's a really beautiful and, like, powerful movie. The animation is absolutely gorgeous, the music just melts me, just the plot and, like, the general themes of everything within the plot, like, really, like, touch home and really just, like, connected with me. And as of right now, it's probably one of my, like, more favorite, like, animated films that I've seen as of late. Or, I mean, I can't really name too many more that are as good as that one, but it's definitely one of my favorites thus far. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then so I watched it, like, I want to say 2 weeks ago, like, basically when I got it, like a day or two after, and like, I was just blown away, absolutely. And then a couple days ago, I was decorating Easter eggs with my folks, and I was like, hey, I want to watch this movie again, and they haven't seen it, and they'd probably like it. So let's watch it. And so I told my parents, like, hey, do you want to watch this movie? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then, like, we put it on, and I really wanted them to see it because I thought they'd really enjoy it, and they really did after, like, they said they really did once it was over. But, oh. Get the present. Okay, there we go. They said they really did enjoy it, which I'm really happy about. And, but what I didn't realize is how much I would appreciate it again, like going back and watching it, because the whole time I was like, oh, this movie's great, like they're gonna love this. But when I was watching it again, I almost loved it even more the second time, because I was like, this is fantastic. And like it's like every emotional scene felt much more powerful just because it was almost like I felt a connection to it even further because I had already seen it. And that was a great feeling. I really enjoyed that. Like there are just so many parts of that film that just like make just like tears. I'm just like, oh my god, this is beautiful. And I have a buddy who like grew up with Studio Ghibli a lot. Highly recommends like a lot of their movies. So now that I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta like watch some of the other movies with him. Because I know he likes Totoro, and I know he likes I don't know if he likes Howl's Moving Castle, but I know he definitely 100% likes Spirited Away. So I'm looking forward to just like getting my eyes on those, because they look good and I've heard nothing but good things about it. Stuff is so good. Alright, that's our limit. Now I have to hit the A button. Literally repeatedly hit the A button for like just minutes on end. If this was a stream, this is the part where I would read off donations. Okay, wait, where's the recipe? There it is. Alright, well. Now we wait. A couple months ago, while I was waiting to get back into school, because in the college I go to, it's they started pretty late, like a lot later than most of my other high schools, middle schools, elementary schools ever did. It was like almost 2 weeks into February, basically. I was like, oh my god, this is absurd. And it was funny because I didn't know how late it was at first. I thought it was going to be February 3rd. So I always go visit family out east. I also talked about that a little bit on the last cast, but so I came back from out east on I think January 18th, so I was just kind of hanging out at my house for a while, and then I went to go visit a buddy of mine like the weekend before school was supposed to start, so like the weekend before February 3rd. Or actually, no, it wasn't a weekend. I think it was a Wednesday, just because we had off, obviously. And so I went to go like hang out with my buddy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we don't get in until the 10th." And I was like, "You're joking." Was it the 10th? It was something like that. And I was like, that can't be real. And he was like, "Nope, it's real. You don't go back till the 10th." And I told my parents, and they were like, "Are you serious?" So I was like, "Yep." So I was just like looking for stuff to do at that point. I was just kind of like messing around with like random kind of random video ideas and stuff like that, and just playing games. And I happened to pick up Far Cry 5 on PSN, on like the PlayStation Store, because it was like $15 and I always wanted to try it. So I was like, might as well go for it. So that's what I did. And I still don't really know how I feel about that game. I really don't, because it was really fun in the start, and I really liked the idea of like, oh, it's in America, and like, because not a lot of games are like, oh, you're just playing in America. A lot of games are like, oh, like the other Far Cry games, for example, are actually great examples of it. because like they're in like Tibet and like in islands in the Caribbean and even like Primal, it is like in the Stone Age, and just stuff like that, where it's like not in a just normal, or at least normal for me kind of setting. So when they were like, oh yeah, it's in like the Midwest, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And I also just like fighting against like the cult in the game. Not the Eden Project. That is a musician. That is not a cult. Oh, the Eden's Gate Project. Or the Project at Eden's Gate. That's what they're called. And they're called Peggies. Yeah, that's right. That's what they're called. So like I really enjoyed just fighting them off, and I liked all the weaponry, because the only Far Cry game I'd ever played before that was Primal. Like that was my first one, which is probably why I enjoyed it so much and actually liked it a lot, because everyone else was like, oh, copy the same map as Far Cry 4, and so I was kind of blind to that in that regard, and I was just like, oh, this is a fun game. It's just like caveman, like mini RPG. So I was like, whatever. And so I was like, yeah, Far Cry 5, whatever. Like I want to give it a try. It's $15. I don't see why not. So I picked it up. I really enjoyed it at the start. It was pretty fun. It was just like, I'll run around America with a bunch of guns and just be patriotic and like kill cultists, like whatever. It's interesting. Except the thing that made me mad about it was, wait, I just realized I'm going the wrong way. The thing that made me mad about it was I wanted to run a stealth build, so I was going to use a bow and like a sniper rifle the whole time. But the game isn't very good for that, because the game is very, the game like forces a lot of encounters on you in which you need to be like up close and personal with people, and snipers and bows aren't exactly great for that. So that was pretty annoying. So eventually I resorted to just filling out my weapon slots and getting like a magnum and a shotgun with like sniper scopes on it, just to quote unquote fit the bill, but also give me like close range stuff. But you know, it was okay. Also, now that this guy's here, that means I can make a lot of money off of the fish that I have in my inventory. So I'm pretty happy about that. Also, now that we're done with clams and making the bait, it's time to fish. I don't remember how big this thing is. I think it's around medium-sized. I probably should have checked that, but we'll figure it out. I'm catching everything anyway, so. But yeah, so Far Cry 5 was it was a fun game, and I wanted to play it stealth, and I think where the game shined for me in that goal, like the part of the game that allowed me to fulfill that goal the most was taking out outposts, because the game highly rewards like fighting in stealth, which I really enjoyed. This is gonna be a black bass, and I'm calling it now. So that was really refreshing, because it was like, oh, the game is really like blocking me from doing what I want. But in these locations, I can actually like be in my element and actually kind of use this quote unquote build that I'm kind of running here to great effect. So in that regard, I really enjoyed it. I was like, this is awesome. Oh, we got a normal salmon. But in every other situation, I was just kind of like, okay, really, bro? Like, you're just gonna make me, like, my entire character is built around stealth, and you're gonna make me not use stealth? Just because that's what you want? Like, that's what you want to have, like, a little cool cinematic, like, all-out battle, which makes it very hard for me to be stealthy. Like, thanks, game, haha. And then, so, like, that kind of bothered me, but I still had fun. I still enjoyed it. I, like, kept pressing on. And I really enjoyed... one of the things that really kept me going in that game was just killing the cult leaders, I guess. Because the whole game is like, yeah, when you find these guys, put them down. And I'm like, all right, I don't see why not. Like, let's go for it. And then every cult leader you find, you kill. And it was always kind of a satisfying conclusion to each, like, locale of the game. Because each of the 3, like, cultist sub-leaders owns, like, a like, piece of land on the map. Or owns, like, a portion of the map, I guess. And it's split into thirds, obviously. So I really enjoyed, like, clearing out certain places, like, getting a little bit of the lore, and then taking these guys out, and then them being like, you know, what you think you're doing? You think you're doing something right. But you're not. And it's like, okay, but I am, actually, because you are torturing people and ruining people's lives. But whatever. So, and then, like, the game basically, I won't say tricks you, but the game leads you on to believe, yeah, you're gonna kill the main guy. Because at the beginning of the game, you literally make a very direct choice where you show up to, like, the cult's compound, and you go to their leader, and his name is Joseph Seed? Yeah, Joseph Seed. And Joseph Seed is like, look, you can just leave and just let things happen here, or you'll, like, get the wrath of God. And if you say, yeah, let's just leave, then he just kind of, the game ends. The game ends like 20 minutes in, and there's, like, a little cutscene that's like, yeah, you know, let's keep doing our thing, guys. And then that's it. But if you say, oh yeah, like, no, I'm gonna take the Wrath of God option, please, and we're gonna take you in, then, like, you try to take him in, and then your helicopter crashes because his followers, like, tear it down, basically. And then the game starts, like, actually. And so, like, the whole game, every NPC is like, yeah, when you find this guy, kill him for me. And I'm like, yeah, I will. That's the whole point. That's why I'm here. I'm here to take these guys out. This is a no loss situation. And then the end of the game hits. I guess spoilers for the end of Far Cry 5 if you care. You make it to him, and basically he hypnotizes, like, most of the characters in the game, and they, like, are using, like, a drug that they produce called Bliss. And I'm not, like, being, like, trying to be like Bliss is a drug. No, I mean, like, it's an actual, like, drug that they grow called Bliss. And so he like drugs your, like, friends, and then he uses them to try to, like, attack you, basically. And then you have to snap them out of it and, like, revive them in like a giant battle, and then you basically recruit all of your friends back to your side, and you fight off Joseph Seed. And then at the very end, you finally you finally, like, down him, basically. You don't, like, kill him, but you just down him, and then one of your cop buddies is like, all right, cuff him, we're taking him in. And in that moment, I was like, what are you doing? Why are we cuffing him? I know you want to make him, like, pay for his crimes or whatever, but you're literally keeping him alive is literally only going to bring the wrath of this cult. Like, this is not gonna go well. This can't end properly. And then, whoop-de-doo, there are nukes that are around the map, and they all go off at that one time, and then he's like, and, like, the cult leader guy, Joseph Seed, is like, heh, God's wrath is, I told you God's wrath is coming, and this is it. But then, obviously, it wasn't God's wrath, because they planted the nukes. But, so then you and all your buddies hop in a car with Joseph Seed, and you're like, also, I just caught the golden trout. Well, that was the whole point of this, so... Alright, we'll figure something else out on the way. But basically, you know what? Okay. Pause button on the Far Cry 5, quote-unquote rant. What we're gonna do instead is I'm gonna run up and down the coast on the side of the island and just, like, catch fish to raise money. Because the other night, Okay, actually, okay, quick side story. I was, the other night, I was doing an online tabletop game with a buddy of mine and his friends, because, he's been trying to get me into, like, stuff like D&D and, like, other, role-playing games and stuff like that. And I'm into it, like, I want to do it, but it was just, like, it's hard just because it's, like, my first time and I'm kind of new to it. Also, here's the tarantulas. Ignore them. But so basically he tried to get me, or we played through like a tabletop game and it was pretty fun. And the whole time I was playing Animal Crossing and I ran up and down the coast of my island just like catching fish, and I caught 360k worth of fish, and that immediately told me like, okay, I could either go to an RNG island and try to catch tarantulas for half that price, or I could do this for 4 hours and make double and not want to destroy the universe. So I'm gonna do that from now on. But alright, back to the Far Cry 5 round. So you don't kill Joseph Seed when you get the chance, and your cop buddy's like, alright, we're taking him in. And you cuff him, and then he's like, and then the nukes go off, and then everyone's like, oh my god, what's going on? And he's like, oh, it's the wrath of God, lol. And you're like, okay, no, haha. So you get in a car with everybody in Joseph Seed, and you start driving away, but of course the nukes are actively going off as you're driving, so trees are falling, stuff happens. A tree falls on your car, everyone dies except you and Joseph Seed. He basically takes advantage of you because you're tired, and chains you up in a bunker, or in a bunker that you wake up in at like the beginning of the game, and he basically just says, alright, it's you and me now, bub. Now we wait for the world to be reborn, because this is God's wrath, so now you and me are gonna come out on top. I'm your father, and now you're my son. So, epic. Credits. And I'm like, are you serious? This game really just looked at me and said, yeah, you know, this is how this is gonna end. You've been wanting to kill this guy the whole game? Nah, you're not gonna. I was like, are you actually joking? Like, I don't think people realize how much that actually, like, bothered me. Like, I've ranted about this to my friends so many times now just because it made me so mad. Because after a while, like, I'll admit it, after a while the game started to become less and less fun, and I started liking the characters less and less. Not that I didn't love them per se, but I was like, oh yeah, this guy's kind of cool, whatever. But I started liking the characters, the game, the gameplay, just all of it less and less. Some of the set pieces were cool later on, but I reached a point where I was like, okay, everyone's dead. I just want to go, like, kill John Seed, beat the game, we're done. And then after I, like, got that terrible ending, I was like, oh, I remember this now. Because I remember watching Pyrocynical's video about Far Cry 5 years ago, where he talks about the ending, and I just kind of listened to it because I was like, whatever, like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna play this game, and I forgot the ending anyway. So, and he was like, yeah, the game ends like this, and I was like, oh, all right, well, that's kind of interesting. But then in real time, I was like, this sucks, dude. Why would I want this? And then, just, it made me very angry, and it made me even more angry because at that point, Far Cry New Dawn, the quote-unquote sequel to Far Cry 5, that takes 17 years, or that takes place 17 years after the events of Far Cry 5, so literally after the nukes go off and after the world is, like, reborn. And it just made me mad, because then I realized they're literally just baiting me into buying the next one so I can find out what happens. And, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to announce it, but I'm sipping the Kool-Aid because I just bought Far Cry New Dawn today for $15, like I bought Far Cry 5. And I don't know if I'm gonna regret it. I probably, actually, I don't know, I might, to be honest. But I have no idea. I really don't. So, at this point, my expectations are very blank. I have heard, or I'm gonna try to keep my expectations blank, because I have heard the game is not great, but I want to see Joseph Seed get owned. And if I don't see Joseph Seed get owned, or at least an equivalent to him getting owned, I'm not going to be happy. Or at least I'm not going to be happy, or I'm not going to be happy because of that. But if the game's good, and I actually, or if the game's like, if I'm okay with it, and I'm just kind of, like, having a fun time nonetheless, I'm not going to, like, let the fact that I didn't get to see John Seed get owned, like, bring it down. But once I finish the game, I'll be like, I entered this to see John Seed, like, get destroyed, and now I did not get that. But I hope he does. That'd be nice. I also hope that wasn't a giant fish, because if it was, I could have made a lot of money off of that. But, so yeah, so I'm awaiting to play Far Cry New Dawn. It is installed on my PS4. I will probably start it tomorrow. I might even make a cast out of it. Who knows? I might just play it and, like, get annoyed and then talk about it. I don't know. Ugh. Oh, now that I mentioned that tabletop game a little earlier, I might as well talk about that, because I feel like it was pretty cool. Basically, it was a superhero-based game called Icons, about, or actually, it's about whatever you want. That's what tabletop games are all about. But our story that we created, me and 3 other guys, our story was about, it was basically an Avengers style scenario, not like just in general, but like Avengers 1, basically, where all the heroes come together for the first time, and there's a big invasion in a big city, and bada bing, bada boom, there you go. So, the character I created for my story was, he was a big man covered in crystals called a gemstone. For you Ben 10 fans out there, it was kind of like, what's his name, dude? I don't remember. Not Diamond Head. There are multiple crystal men, I guess. It's like Crystal Vision? Something like that? I'm not particularly sure. But, now I need to look it up. Come on, Google. You can do it. I'm just gonna do it on my phone. I'm just gonna whip my phone out of my drawer. Oh, actually, never mind. Google is opened up on my computer, so I'm gonna look it up. Excuse my mechanical keyboard, guys. I'm a gamer. Chroma Stone, yes, that was exactly who I based him off of. Also, that was super loud. I'm looking at my recording and it's spiking a little bit. But yeah, so my character Gemstone, who is a man covered in crystals, was loosely based off of the design of Chroma Stone, and his whole lore was that like he was experimenting with like paranormal crystals that were like very recently found, so no one really knew anything about him. And then he gets like infected with them and basically gets like a disease because of it. And then everyone he touches gets infected and dies because they can't handle it, but he can for some reason. So then he closes himself into a bunker for 7 years because he doesn't want to kill anyone. Because eventually he, like after killing like all of the researchers, or almost all of the researchers that he knows, he goes to his family, he's like in like a desperate act, but then kills them too because he touches them. And so then he's like, okay, yeah, I can't bring pain onto anyone else. So he, ooh, I already got an outdoor air conditioner from a balloon earlier today. But, okay, so Gemstone goes in the bunker for 7 years, and he just stays there so he doesn't hurt anyone else. And then a character in the same vein as, what's his name? In the same vein as, I want to say Nick Lee? Not Nick Lee. Nick Fury, yes, okay. A character in the same vein as Nick Fury, named Steven Ramita, comes to him and is like, hey, the world needs you, Gemstone. And then he's like, no, I'll hurt people. And Steven Ramita's like, yeah, but we need you. And he's like, fine, I'll come. So then Gemstone, a character called Void, and a man named Chad Sustin, who's like Wolverine, team up to basically just like save the world and like preserve the hero organization, or preserve the organization that they work for, called Max, much like S.H.I.E.L.D. And it was pretty fun. We had 3 sessions. They were each like 4 to 5 hours each, which was very long for me, but I kept up with it because I had fun. I had fun doing it. And but now I'm like on hiatus with it a little bit, just because if there's one thing I don't like about tabletop games, it's the time sink, for sure. Just because a lot of them are very, very long. And it's something that I have a hard time not accepting, that's a stupid way to put it, but I have a hard time just like keeping up with it after a while, because I get like overwhelmed with all the information. It's just like information overload after a while. And I don't really like that about it. I used to do like very, very short one-shot campaigns. You hear that? That's crickets. I used to do very short one-shot campaigns with my friends in school because I had a dice roller app on my phone, and the way I would do it is I would just oversimplify D&D. Oh, I don't have a bug net. Get out of here. I would do a very simplified version of D&D where instead of making characters and like being very like in-depth with what each person can do, I basically just sat down with all my friends and said, okay, who wants to be what? And then one of them would be like, I want to be a warrior, I want to be like a wizard, I want to be a assassin, thief, rogue kind of guy. And then I'd be like, alright, cool, so like, okay, so warrior guy, you get +3 on every strength roll you need to do. Thief guy, you get +2 on every like skill roll you need to do. And then the magic guy, I would always make the magic guy a little overcomplicated, and I would just like give him spells or whatever and give him like a magic pool out of like a certain number, but which wasn't great on my part, but I would still give him like 3 spells just to use, and that would be that. And then I would just literally make an adventure. Can I not sell you fish? I would basically just come up with an adventure off the top of my head and just keep it going until class ended. Because I would do this in drama class, and a lot of the time we didn't really do much in drama class. So, yeah, we wouldn't really do much, so eventually we would just kind of resort to going to, like, the side yard of our school or, like, the backyard of our school, and just kind of sitting down and, like, we would either talk or just play, like, short D&D. And my whole D&D story was with a D20, and I would literally make everything, or not everything, but I would make, like, instead of being like, oh, you need to roll this thing and add it to your intelligence and then add on this thing because you have this extra perk, I would just make everything hinge on the roll of a d20, no matter what you were and no matter who you were. So let's say, like, a warrior is like, yeah, I want to see if there's, like, a town nearby, like, in this forest. I would say, okay, I'll roll, like, roll perception. And, then I would roll the d20 on my dice app, and whatever he got was whatever he got. And in case of, I mean, like I said, I would give certain classes certain, like, pluses. So let's say a warrior was like, I want to hit this guy with my axe. I would roll the d20, and let's say he got a 10. I would say, okay, so, like, obviously the warrior gets a +3 on all strength, so you get 10 + 3, and then you'd be like, okay, sick. Like, it's very easy to understand and very just simple. So everything was a roll. Some classes got certain bonuses, or, like, got one bonus each, and that's that. And then I would just run an adventure, and it was so much fun. Also, I realized I am pushing my fishing rod to its limit. I need to fix this thing. Oh, did I already? Oh, I already fixed it. Okay, sick. But yeah, so that's how I would kind of carry each campaign, and it would always be off the top of my head, and it would always just, everything would hinge on the roll of a d20, and of course it would be there would be degrees of success. So if you rolled a 1, let's say you want to swing a weapon at, like, a bandit. If you rolled a 1, you could potentially, like, swing your sword and throw it, like, off a cliff, or you could, like, throw your sword and stab yourself with it and, like, by accident, or you could throw it to the side and hit someone else, or trip and fall on it, something like that. But if you rolled a 20, then it would just be, like, absolute success. So let's say, okay, you rolled a 20, you're gonna hit the bandit, you kill him, like, immediately. Maybe you cut, like, some trees nearby, something like that. I would always make 20 rolls really over the top and, like, really powerful. So, eventually, I donated the fish, right? Okay, yeah, I didn't sell it, so I had to have donated it. But yeah, I would always make the 20 rolls very, like, overdramatic and very, like, large and big. And it always, oh, that sucks. Now I have to redo all of this. Basically, right now, I'm doing, like, a sea challenge to get, so I can sell stuff to that fish guy. And I need to catch 5 fish in a row, so. And I was at the end of the streak, and I accidentally hesitated and let go, so here we are. But about tabletop games, though, I really like them, and I have a lot of fun doing them. But it's just the time that always gets to me. So that's why I always liked those short little D&D campaigns that I would just kind of host, that were very simple, very, like, very impromptu, very just, like, fun, and just, like, people would just want to go on an adventure. And a lot of the time, I really enjoyed the fact that my friends enjoyed it so much, because these weren't very, like, some of these guys weren't very nerdy, per se. Some of them weren't, like, if you looked at them, that you wouldn't think, oh, that's the kind of guy that would want to play, like, play this kind of game. But, like, everyone still wanted to do it. Like, I knew some pretty popular guys in my school that were like, yeah, I want to do this. And I'm like, oh, cool, dude, like, whatever. I mean, to be fair, my school was, like, all nerdy people. But, you know, it was nice to see that a lot of different people were, like, enticed by it. And I was really glad about that, because I was the one who was always running things. I was never a player. I was always the guy. I was always like the DM of sorts. So I would always forge, like, what was going to happen. And I really enjoyed that because I felt like I was getting good at like telling stories and just making people enjoy the game or enjoy like what I was putting in front of them. Because every time they got the chance, they were like, "Dude, we gotta play this," and I was like, "Sure, like let's go for it." Sometimes it was a little overwhelming, just like mentally, just because it was like. Because every now and then my friends would just be like, "Yeah, let's do it," and I'm like, I wasn't really thinking about that, but all right, like I guess so. So in that regard, it's kind of stressful. But if I have a couple ideas and I just feel like being creative, like that's a great way for me to just express it. I'm not gonna mess up this fish catch. I'm not gonna mess it up. We got it, boys and girls and other human beings or other aliens or other races of creatures or animals or molecules. Another reason I was glad to like tell people stories was actually this is more of a hindsight kind of thing, less of a like in the moment kind of thing, but I'm glad looking back on that I was able to tell people some interesting stories. Just because now I'm starting to study screenwriting, and every now and then I'm like, is this story like worthwhile? Is this gonna be like is this gonna be something that someone wants to see? And but like it's stuff like that makes me like think like, yeah, you know, like I'm actually like kind of good at this, and I have a good sense of like, or I have like a decent sense of like what could be interesting. And I like a lot of fantasy and sci-fi stuff, so I feel like I could write some cool stories in those kind of settings, or in those kind of themes or genres, I suppose. So yeah, I was very happy with that kind of stuff, and because those games were so short, it was very hard to get burnt out on them. So once I finished these oh, that's a lot of money. Once I finished this whole campaign of sorts, we did it once a week for 3 weeks. It was 4 to 5 hours a night, as I said, and it was quite an ordeal after a while, and not in a bad way. It was like a labor of love, to be honest, but it was still kind of laborious, because I think it was, no, it wasn't last night. 2 nights ago was the last part of the campaign, and we were supposed to start at 5:30 p.m., but we kept waiting on a couple of our like party members, and eventually we started at like 8:30, and it was supposed to be a 4 to 5, or it was supposed to be 3 to 4 hours, but it always goes a little long just because like we always linger and we always want to like do a little more, but eventually it basically ended at like 1:30, and we were all just like, oh my god. And then I ended up getting in bed at like 2:30, and that was just kind of like made the old brain hurt the next day, but you know, no crazy complaints, I suppose. And last night, I forgot I did this last night. Last night I was tarantula grinding, so I was especially tired today. But oh yeah, I completely forgot to explain why I have the tarantulas next to my house. Basically, so I need to get esteemed performer KK to come to my island, and I the whole time I've just been it's been like a week, and I've just kind of like been trying to feel out how I'm supposed to get him here, and I'm not really sure, because at first they were like, put down more items, and I was like, okay, so I did that, and then they were like, yeah, you're still at the same rating, haha. I'm like, okay, but why? Like, what am I doing wrong here? And so eventually I hit up a buddy of mine, and I was like, hey, do you know how to like do this? And he was like, yeah, just put a bunch of tarantulas everywhere. And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. So that's what I did. And then once I put down like 60, I think there's 66 tarantulas sitting over there. And once I did that, the game was like, oh yeah, you have 2 stars now. I'm like, oh, all right. I don't know what makes this a visitor's attraction, but whatever. And then Isabel, the counter lady, of course, was like, yeah, you need to plant a bunch of flowers. And I was like, all right. But at that time, I didn't really pay attention to that, so I was just kind of like, need more tarantulas. And so I just kept going for them. And at like 12, I didn't realize how late it was, but I already went grinding for tarantulas on one island, and I got really good RNG, because I got a good island for it. So instead of taking 4 hours, it only took like 2 to get a full inventory. So I was like, sick, alright, I might as well do it again. And then I got to a good island, and I was like, I'm kind of tired, I want to go to bed. But I don't want to waste that Nook Miles ticket. Because eventually I went to a new island, and it was bad, so I like just looted it, took whatever I could, and just left. And then I tried it again, and I got the same island that I got the first time, and I was like, oh, yes, like this is great. But then I was like, wait, but it's 12:30 and I'm exhausted. Am I really gonna waste this? And I was like, nope. So I stayed up till like 2 again, just to get all the spiders, and I ended up getting 66, which is 2 full inventories, including items, of course, or including like tools. And then eventually I read the flowers, and I was like, okay. So then I planted like 50 orange windflowers, I think they're called. Now they're just kind of chilling. I'm waiting for them to grow, and I assume it'll get me to 3 stars, then I can get KK. And then I can do the thing I've wanted to do for like, since I heard about it, which is landscape. Because then I know once I get that, I can really start like messing around and having some like real fun. I don't know if that's considered like quote unquote the late game of this game, but if it is, that's takes a while to get to the late game. I've been playing this game for I want to say, oh, I scared off the fish. So I was looking away. I was looking at the calendar. I've been playing this game for approximately 3 weeks. Oh, 3 weeks today, actually. And I have like 100 or so hours in the game at this point. And I just want it to be here. I want the landscaping abilities. I want to actually be able to customize stuff a little bit more now, because I feel like I've just been waiting on it for so long. And as I said in the last cast, like, the pacing of this game is just so slow. And like I just want it to speed up now. Like, I'm pretty sure if someone told me, you know, it's gonna take you like 100 or so hours to actually get to a really cool part of the game, and it's gonna be kind of like, it's gonna be a little slow for the whole time, I would have been like, well, it's kind of annoying, but I'm still gonna do it. But I definitely feel like I have enjoyed this experience more not knowing how long it was gonna take me, because I'm just kind of sailing along, and I'm having a fun time overall. There are certain things that are making me like pretty angry, like the spider grinds, of course. But besides that, like, it's Animal Crossing. I can't really complain. I don't have much more to complain about, I guess. Although I did come up with kind of a solution for the island RNG situation, because that has been bothering me for a hot minute. Like, what they could do is, like, okay, obviously in the first game, in New Leaf, they had one island, one tropical island that you could go to. So that's what I wanted to, or I was super stoked to go there every time, because I knew I could get rare stuff there all the time, and I could always consistently get what I wanted. So in a way, it was like, okay, I know I can go here to get this, so I'm going to go here. So why doesn't this game, instead of having a like an RNG system where the game is just like, oh, we're going to a random island, who knows? Like, what, instead of having that, why doesn't the game just have like a list, or have like a like suggestions, where I can be like, oh, you want to go to a deserted island? Here's the kind that we offer right now. Like a perfect way to integrate it would be to have the I'll call it doll because that's what the airline is called, but like to have like the doll representative, I guess his name is, to have him or to have like the airport have like scheduled island times. So it's like, oh, you want to go to a like bamboo island? We have it from this time of the day to this time of the day. Or you want to go to this kind of island? We have it from during that same time block. So maybe it could be like, oh, we offer 3 different kinds of islands at certain hourly periods throughout the day. Would that be kind of annoying for some, for catching certain bugs? Yeah, it could be, but it would definitely be better than this. And the ideal situation would be to just have like a list of just like, okay, you're going to a deserted island, here's what we got. And then you can pick bamboo, you can pick this one, you can pick that one, pick whatever one you want. But I have a feeling that that would negate some of the usage of certain islands, because people would probably go to the bamboo one a lot to get the spiders, and they'd probably go to certain other ones to catch certain bugs and stuff. And maybe if the system was like that, where they offered certain ones at certain hourly periods throughout the day, or if they had a list, the game could list you like what appears there, and then they could like divvy off certain like locale specific insects and locale specific items. Like you could say, oh, certain beetles appear on this island, but then certain butterflies appear on this island, and then this kind of fish can only be found here because it's really rare, and stuff like that. And then, so then you don't feel like you're wasting your Nook miles so like willy-nilly. Because when you go to an island in this game, it's like, oh my god, I could show up and then realize, yeah, I'm never getting a spider here, ever. And I hate that feeling, because it's like, okay, I just wasted 2,000 Nook miles, thanks. But with a system like that in place, it would make the game, or it would make the island system similar to New Leafs, which was already optimal, to be honest. And it would also allow for the variety of the islands, and would allow for, and it would make sense. It would make sense in the in-game like lore, so to speak. I'm actually proud of that idea. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Like if I ever made an Animal Crossing style game, I would definitely do something like that if I had like an island travel option. Also, I hope my Joy-Cons aren't vibrating into the mic too much, because that would be kind of annoying. I love that I started this cast going like, yeah, I'm gonna grind for this fish and it's gonna take a while. But then, and then I was like, whatever. Like, I guess we caught it early, let's go fish for other stuff. I also haven't found any like really big fish yet, which I'm kind of surprised by, but whatever. Because the other night I found a lot of them. And another one of the reasons I expected this to go so long was is this villager trying to talk to me, or is she just walking into me? No, she's straight up walking into me. I think her name is Nibbles. Ah, thanks. Another reason I thought this would take so long is, because, I mentioned this briefly in the last cast as well, which was, when I was thinking of, like, how to make videos, or, like, what kind of videos to make, and I made that one video where I just, like, recorded me grinding for the fish called the Saddled Bashir. And, I lost my train of thought. Okay, basically I was grinding for the Saddled Bashir, and I was sick of it, and I didn't want to do it anymore, because all I did was run to the shore, get clams, then run back to the river to catch fish like I did for the golden trout. But this time it took like no time at all. I remember when I was trying to catch the string fish, it took me like 10 tries, not even. Like I got like a bunch of clams, a bunch of bait, went to the river, and within 10 tries I had it. And I was like, wow, that was like relatively quick. And then the saddled Bashir took days, and I never actually caught it because the charts online that said, oh, here's what fish are in what region right now, were completely wrong. Like, my friend was like, oh yeah, I was like, hey, did you get a saddled Bashir? And he was like, alright, I don't know if he has one or if he, like, or what the deal was, but I think I asked him and he was like, oh yeah, you find them in rivers, yeah, you find them here. Like, oh, you can grind for them. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. And then I spent like days grinding and, like, to no avail. So I thought it would be like this situation, but minus the wrong information. I just figured it would be rare enough where if I, like, it would take me a while, but it really didn't. It was really, like, lenient, which I'm really happy about. And it's making me think, this situation is making me think that a lot of the other fish and a lot of the other insects that I haven't found yet that are in my region are not showing up because I'm not meeting certain requirements for them. Because I need a butterfly called the peacock butterfly and a butterfly called the... not the alias butterfly. All I remember is that it's purple and pink, and it's like... it's a very specific design. And I know that they both show up in my region right now, but I haven't seen them yet. And I watched a video online about the second one. The alias one, I think it's called alias. I know that's wrong, for sure, but I just don't know what it's actually called, so I'm gonna keep calling it that. But I watched a video online about how to catch it, because I was like, is there like a weird way you catch it? Because I know the citrus longhorned beetle you can only find on like tree stumps. You can only get wasps if you cut down a tree and a wasp's nest falls. That was really weird. I could not say that 5 times fast. But I keep losing my train of thought. Oh yeah, okay. The alias butterfly. I just thought it would like appear around like a common butterfly or a tiger butterfly or like a paper kite one. But what actually ended up happening was apparently you need to breed certain kinds of flowers, specifically dark colored flowers. And if you do that, then they will spawn on those flowers. And I'm assuming the peacock butterfly has a similar condition, or a similar like spawn condition. So I'm gonna have to get into flower breeding now, because I didn't really have an intention of trying it. I just kind of wanted to, I mean, eventually I want to dabble in it, but I just don't really know how it works. And I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna get the butterfly, whatever. But I think it's gonna require me to do that. So I feel like once I get KK to my island, I'll probably start dabbling with that. But that definitely gives me hope for the rarer fish in this game. It's good stuff. Now that I'm like staring at this drink and just like taking sips of it, it's making me think of like just bad drinks I've had in the past. Because I am not of legal drinking age. So I don't mean like alcoholic drinks. I just mean like soft drinks and like other random stuff that I've had. One of the weirdest soft drinks I think I've ever had is Mountain Dew. Definitively. Like, my friend got it once when we were on like a big field trip in like the 8th grade or something. And I was like, hey, what does that taste like? And then he was like, here. and take a sip. And I was like, all right. I tried it, and it's like sugar, and I can't even describe it. It was like it was obviously very sugary, but it was also very like, it tasted very chemical-y, and it didn't taste like something I wanted to drink. So I immediately was like, oh my god, this is a concoction. I don't know what this is. And I might have just broken my rod. Oh, okay. Alright, time to sell the fish. But, yeah, very, very weird drink. I was not... Someone's car is going berserk. I was not pleased with that drink, to be honest. It was very weird. Although, to be fair, I'm not really a fan of, like, sodas, per se. I'm not, like, I don't drink Coke or, like, Pepsi. I don't even really know all the brands. Or, like, Dr. Pepper. Or just anything like that. I'm not even really, like, a root beer kind of guy, either. Like, just bubbling, like, drinks. Even sparkling water. Like, they just make me feel weird. And not in, like, oh, I drank it and now my stomach is, like, wonky. No, I mean, like, the way it goes down my throat is just, like, puts me in a bad mood immediately. For some reason, sparkling drinks always, like, they always have burned my throat, and I don't know why. Like, I remember one day, I had the stomach flu when I was in, like, I think, elementary school, and, my mom was like, here, drink this water. And I was like, oh, that's probably gonna be pretty nice right about now, thanks. And I thought it was normal water, and I took a sip, and it was sparkling. And I immediately just started, like, gagging. And not, like, throw-up gagging, but, like, just gagging because it, like, just the way the bubbles, like, go down my throat just did not, it just doesn't, like, feel good. It feels like it's almost, like, burning my throat a little bit. Like, it just feels like my throat is getting inflamed when I drink it, and I'm just not pleased by that. But, you know... It's just very weird. I never really could explain it to people. I remember... Here's a story. I remember going to one of my friend's Sweet 16s in my sophomore year of high school. And, she had it at, like, this big event hall. It was pretty fun. And... a friend of mine was like, hey, you want some soda? And I was like, nah, I don't like carbonated drinks, because that's technically what it is. And then she was like, oh my god, you're such a nerd. And I was like, okay. But, I mean, obviously I was like, okay, whatever, haha. But, like, that moment was just like, my nerdy for saying. But, that night was also interesting just because, it was one of the times, in which it's one of the many party stories that I've had where just some weird shenanigan has happened that I've been a part of that isn't, like, illegal in any way, isn't really bad in any way. It was just, like, me and a couple friends had a funny idea, and then we did it, and then everyone was like, lol, look at what they did. And, that particular night, I went to the bathroom at this event with not with my friends, but, like, I went to the bathroom, and, I walk in, and this place is like a hotel room. I'm not even joking. There's a bathtub in it. It's, like, it's huge. It's, like, 3 times the size of, like, what you would normally think a bathroom is. There's a bathtub in it at this event hall. I'm like, what? Why is this here? There's, like, art all over the walls. There's just tons of stuff going on in this room. I don't know if there was a shower or not, but there was something like that. And I saw that and I was like, this is crazy. So I go to a buddy of mine and I'm like, this is, like, do you see the bathroom? Like, this place is insane. And he was like, yeah, I saw it too. It's nuts. And then eventually we were like, why don't we take over that bathroom and make it like a secret club? And we were like, genius idea, perfect. So we tell a bunch of other dudes like a bunch of our other friends, like at this party. We grab like a couple pizzas from the like pile of like pizzas that they had for the party. We go into this bathroom, lock the door, and we're just chilling out in this giant bathroom. And it sounds like the story would progress to, oh yeah, we all got high, or something like that. But like, no, we were all sober. we were just like having like a great time, and we just had this stupid idea and just wanted to like do this stupid thing, and it's exactly what we did. It was such a good time. And we also had like a secret password, so if you needed to get in, like if you had left and needed to get in, you could just like secretly knock. Or yeah, it wasn't like a word, it was like a knock. And God, it was so entertaining. That's a fun story to tell. Like me and a couple buddies have told that story to a lot of like underclassmen, or we did when we were still in high school. God, that was so much fun. Another party story. I actually have a bunch of party stories. I got invited to I think it was another Sweet 16 party, actually. And it was the same friend from who told me I was a nerd for saying carbonated drinks. She was like, yeah, I'm having my Sweet 16, and I was like, all right, epic, like I'll be there. And so except this is one of like the popular kid parties I've gone to, because back in high school, I don't mean to brag, but like I felt like I was pretty accepted in a lot of circles in high school. Like no one was like, oh yeah, it's that Tom Shark guy. Which they actually did call me Tom. A lot of people did call me Tom Shark, but a lot of people were just like, oh yeah, it's that guy. Like cool, like let's hang out with him. And for a brief time, like I was a bit closer into like the more popular circles in the school. So that's how I like got to that. Oh, keep voice cracking, by the way. If you didn't notice already. But yeah, that's how I got to that party basically. I'm making it sound like I devised a plan to get to the party. No, I just was like hanging out with these people a lot more, and they were like, oh yeah, like come along, and I was like, epic. So I got to the party, and it took place at night. It wasn't like a day party, it was a night party. So it was I think I got there at like 8, and it was a family event. Like that's an important detail. It was a family event. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, time to just hang out with my friends, like, maybe say hi to one of, like, my friends' relatives every now and again, maybe just mingle with the crowd, whatever, you know. And there was dancing, too, so we were just, like, having a fun time. And I just, like, hung out with a couple buddies, and, one buddy of mine was, getting to the party a little late with another friend of mine and that other friend's sister. How do I explain this? Okay. 3 friends. No. One buddy of mine was arriving to the party with 2 other friends of mine, and one of their sisters. How do I don't know how to explain this dynamic. It was 4 people. 2 of them were brother and sister. One of them was a buddy of mine, and the other one was another buddy of mine who was an upperclassman, who already graduated from our high school and was just like invited because we all knew him. So they arrived super late, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, let me just go ahead and say hi to him. And I see him, and everything's normal. Everything's fine. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And and eventually, I'm just dancing. I'm like having a good time, interacting with my friends, and eventually, all the people that came in that car together, except for the sister who was in that who came late with all my friends. The 3 of the guys that came in that one car, every now and then they would just like vanish, and I'd be like, all right, where do they go? And then they'd come back like through the driveway of like my friend's house, and they would just be like, oh my god, I just realized I left my like glasses in the car. And then he was like, oh, do you guys want to come with? And they'd be like, sure. So I would see that and be like, are they just using this as an excuse to just like get out of the party for a little bit? I pretty much just assumed that that's what it was. And I just like let it slide. I was like, whatever. Like, I'm just here to have fun, whatever. So, did I get an item? I got a parka undercoat. Okay, that's kind of nice. Thank you. What's your name again? You're not Nibbles. You are Bettina. Yes. All right. Am I about to get a song? Oh, man. All right. Well, back to the story. So basically, they kept disappearing and saying like, "Oh, I forgot this at the car. Let's go back and grab it." And they did it multiple times, maybe like 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, "What is happening? Why are you doing this so much? You literally have not been at this party at all." And then eventually, my buddy I was about to name drop someone, and I don't feel like that's a good idea. A different buddy of mine pulled me to the side and was like, "Hey, you know what they're doing, right?" And I'm like, "No." "What are they doing?" And then he's like, "Yeah, they're going to their car to just get high." And I'm like, "Oh, what?" And so I heard that, and then a lot of things started to like make sense to me in many ways. Exhibit A. One of my buddies was acting very, very hyper and very friendly, and I was like, oh boy. I was like, yep, that explains that. Then another one of my friends was very quiet and very, like, not active. And he wasn't really, like speaking to a lot of people, and I was like, okay, that explains that. And then I just noticed that a couple of other people at the party were very, like, just acting not normal. And I was like, okay, I see why this is happening now. And eventually I discovered, dun-dun-dun-dun. I meant to go dun-dun-dun-dun, but then I wanted to make it sound like, okay. I wanted to make it sound like, it was, like, sarcastic, almost. But basically, I discovered that the older guy who came to this party was, basically he brought like a not a vape pen, but like a wax pen for like a bunch of people to smoke, and a bunch of people just did at this family party, like just away from like the crowd, so to speak. And the person whose house it was and whose party it was for flipped out. She wasn't like she didn't like throw a tantrum and like actually like throw people out of the house or anything, but she was just like, "What are you doing? Like why are you doing this?" And then like I just remember observing certain people who had like just applied the I can't think of a funny word for drugs. Applied the I'm going to use the word resin even though that's not really right at all. They applied the fumes, and I was just like around while this was happening, and I was like, what's going on? Like people were saying the classic shtick of, I don't feel high right now. Am I high? And then the guy who brought it was just like, if you're saying that, you probably are. I was like, what is happening right now? So that was pretty much that night, and I went home like that night and just I was like, I basically just told myself like, you know, it's gonna be a story. Like this is gonna be something I'm gonna tell in the future at some time to someone, and here we are. Because that was a very bizarre night. Because I went expecting like, oh, let's have a fun time with like a couple friends of mine, and then it just turned into that, and I was like, okay, that's pretty weird. I remember I had finished all my homework like the night before or the day of, so I could like sleep in and then just like hang out the next day. And the next day I just remember like spending the whole day thinking like, what just happened? Like why did this occur? But that just shows my innocence in terms of like stuff like that, to be honest, because I've never like gotten drunk or high or anything like that. So, and to be honest, I'd like to keep it that way, just because it's I don't know. I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm a control freak. I don't want to lose control. I'm like, I like being. I don't want to feel like oh, I'm not in control of my actions, and I don't want to do something stupid because I'm not in control of my actions. And it would also just feel uncomfortable to just be like, I feel like it would be uncomfortable to just trip out and not really either remember what you're doing later, or just completely like black out, or just completely like, just everything you're doing is just like blurred. And it's like, okay, what if I need to do something important right now? what if an emergency occurs? I need to be at the ready. But being high would only inhibit that. Or inhibit? Is that the right word? It would only stop that. So I was not a fan. Or I'm not a fan of that stuff. If you want to do it, do whatever you want. Who am I to stop you? But like, I am not one to do so. Alright, I'm gonna do one more round, I think. Just gotta craft another fishing rod, because I broke mine like a brainlet. Ooh, I want to talk about what I'm gonna do with my island, or just like different ideas I have. I'm like not paying attention at all. One thing I want to do is, like a lot of people, when they get the ability to landscape, they're just kind of terraforming their entire island and like, in many ways, removing a lot of the like original charm or like original like shape of what their island was. I don't want to do that. I want to keep, like I picked this island layout for a reason, because I really liked how it looked, and I want to maintain it to a certain extent. So I'm going to terraform a little bit, but I want to keep the general shape and outline of the island intact. So, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn part of my island into a national park or some sort of like nature reserve, which I think is going to be really cool. And so I'm super pumped to do that, just to like plant a ton of flowers and just plant some trees, maybe make a couple like little cool nature scenes and just stuff like that in that area. And I'm not gonna like alter the land too much. I'm gonna keep it pretty pure. I more mean like I want to just make stuff with trees and stuff like that. And I'm gonna block off certain entrances to it and just make it very secluded and very like separated. And I'm gonna move all the houses that are presently in that area to like different parts of the island. And I feel like that'd be pretty cool. So I'm definitely gonna go through with that. Right now, the guy I've been selling my fish to in this cast have been, I just realized that's a fishing pun. Cast, get it? The guy I've been selling all these fish to he's walking around in the area that I would want to seclude, basically. It's not going to be a small area, too. It's probably going to be like a third of my island. Here, I'm going to pull up a map just to give people a reference. Also, of course, once I get KK, all of this is going away. Like, all the flowers and all the tarantulas. I'm going to sell them and make a pretty penny. Because this will probably equate to like 400,000 bells, which is going to be nice, but, you know. Hold on, I'm going to be right back really quick. Alright. So this is my island, and that upper, like, it's kind of split into 3 parts because of the rivers, which I really like. And basically, the upper part, like the upper chunk, is going to be the national park. So those 2 houses in the campsite and the incline, actually I'm probably going to keep the incline because it's like a natural incline, so I'm going to keep that. I might take down that little island all the way to the left that's just kind of up, like raised, but besides that, I'm going to try to keep it like pretty pristine. I might alter like the little body of water up there. I might change like just the lay of the land just a little bit, but I'm not making any huge adjustments. Like I'm not going to like make it all hills. Actually, had to go AFK for a little bit again, but basically, I think I might raise... I actually might raise, all of the land in the top section, because now that I've said that, it's kind of like... That's kind of a cool idea. Like, that's kind of interesting. Like, I could, like, raise it all up and make it look like it's, like, a completely separate part of the island, which would be pretty sick. And, but I don't really know. I might just keep it at normal level and just kind of, like, I might just, like, hone out, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I might just spruce up a couple edges. I might just, like, make some stuff look a little smoother, or, but, you know, it's a work in progress. But yeah, the upper portion is going to be the, nature reserve, 100%. Because I want to, like, cover it in flowers, plant a couple more trees, make it look really, like, untouched. And also, I'm gonna let the weeds grow. Not right now, because I need KK to come to the island, but I'm gonna make it, just as pristine as possible, which is gonna be nice. Oh, 10,000 bells, my god. I'm making a lot of money from the balloons tonight. I'm also getting a lot of balloons. Every time I go on fishing trips, I just get tons of balloons. Alright, but yeah, that's kind of the plan for my island. I'm probably going to keep this tree farm. I might cut down some of them, because I kind of hate how dense all the trees are, and because I can't really see much. Like, if a fossil's in there, I wouldn't really know. I kind of look through the holes here, just to, like, scan the floor, but it's not always very efficient. I feel like after a while, the hole doesn't go very far. But, just figuring it out, you know. That's what the whole landscaping thing is all about, and that's what the whole game is all about, to be honest. Just changing your island. That's what Animal Crossing is about, just changing your town, like seeing where it goes. I wish I like played this game more consistently with friends, because I remember seeing Space Hamster, Peanut Butter Gamer, and a couple other streamers host like a mini game night in Animal Crossing, where they basically do like sumo wrestling, where what they do is they make a 3x3, or not 3x3, basically they outline a 3x3 space with pitfalls, or like pitfall seeds, I think they're called, and which I have not encountered any of them, by the way. I have not seen a single one. But they outline like a 3x3 space with those little pitfall traps, and then you just run into each other, like in the center, and whoever falls in the hole loses, and they like bet bells on it and just make a lot of money. And it sounds like so much fun. I want to do stuff like that. But I don't have like a consistent, like, I mean, I have a consistent friend group, of course, but I don't have a consistent friend group that plays this game, I guess. So I don't have a lot of opportunities to do stuff like that. I've been to a couple islands, though. For example, I went to a stranger's island the other day, actually, because I've been trying to get into the turnip trade, and I had like a ton of turnips just lying around, and eventually a buddy of mine, or like someone I know through a streamer, a couple streamers I watch, was like, hey, you should join the Animal Crossing Discord, because people will like offer up turnips and stuff like that, and will say like, oh, the turnips in my town are worth a lot, or like you can, like, anyone who wants to come to my island to trade in their turnips for a lot can come now, because my turnips are worth a lot, stuff like that. So I found a guy who was like, yeah, my turnips are worth like 450 bells right now, like a piece. And I bought them for like 90. Oh, that's a rare fish. I bought them for like 90 a pop, 93 I think. And So I was like, that's a huge price, like, that's a huge price increase. So I like DM'd him on Discord, and I was like, yeah, do you mind if I come? And he's like, nah, dude, come on. And so I went over, and I traded my bells, and I was like, hey, do you, like, I was like, here, I'll give you, like, 30k, just, like, as a thank you, because I brought it with me, like, previously, and he was like, nah, you're good. I was like, you sure? And he was like, yeah, dude, take it. And I was like, all right. And then afterward, I messaged him, and I was like, hey, if my bells are ever, or if my, turnips are ever worth a lot, I'll, like, hit you up and let you know, so you can, like, make a pretty penny, too. And he's like, all right, sick. So, in a way, I wouldn't say, oh, I made a friend, guys. I would just say, like, I, like, met a guy who was willing to help me out, and I'm willing to help him out, so that's cool. It's a little connection. And, oh, yeah, my turnips. Okay, so I made I made like 1.4 million, and it's just kind of sitting in my bank now. My home loan is 1.2 million or so, and I'm like, are you serious, bro? Like, I just made all this money, now I have to spend it again. I'm not paying off my home loan until I have at least like 3 million. This drink is still good. And I think I'm just going to try to make the bulk of my money nowadays off of turnips. Because I'm getting real sick of the whole tarantula thing. The only reason I went back and started tarantula grinding again was so I could improve the image of my island and get KK here more easily. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. I straight up would not have gone out of my way to go tarantula hunting. Because nothing makes me more angry than that. Because if you just get bad RNG, you're screwed. Like, you're done. There's no chance. Tarantulas are going to be running into walls. It's going to take like 4 hours. It's not pretty. But if you get good RNG, it's like, oh, it's like 2 hours, whatever. It's like they kind of disappear for every now and again for a while. But when they come back, and a lot of them show up. Like, I remember the other night, I caught like 7 of them like in a row, and I was like, this is perfect. Thank you. Like, the game is finally giving me something I want. But it's so finicky that it's not even worth it to me. I'd rather just run in circles here, just catching fish. Like, it's way more fun to me. And I also just like catching the rarer stuff every now and again. It's just like, it's just fun. It's just enjoyable. It almost gives me the same feeling that I got, the same feeling of excitement I got from catching beetles on the island in New Leaf. But the only thing that will mimic that feeling is catching beetles in this game, because I know for a fact that there are beetles in this game, and a lot of them, but I am 90% sure that they show up over the summer. So this summer, I'm going ham on this game again. I mean, I'm not stopping. I'm not gonna like put this game down and be like, yeah, I'm not playing this till summer. I'm gonna keep playing it for sure, because I want to hone my island and everything, and I want to make a lot of money and really like make this place flourish and make some cool stuff. Just a nice place to hang out. But I want to farm for beetles. That's all I want, to be honest. I'm sick of just catching Atlas moths and pretending it's a beetle. And Atlas moths aren't nearly worth as much as tarantulas, so it's like, okay, if I'm not going to go for tarantulas, why am I going to go for anything else? Which isn't entirely true all the time. Like, if there's an Atlas moth just around, I'm going to catch it, because it's like 3,000, maybe 2,500. But it's just kind of frustrating, I guess. I don't really know. I just want to go on the beetle hunts again. I just miss that. I want to just lie down in bed and just whip out my Switch and just hunt for beetles on an island. I'm waiting for them to appear on the fronts of trees, like these ones, because that's where they would appear in New Leaf. And a lot of the beetles that are in New Leaf are in this game, but it's just not the time of year for them to appear. And when I played New Leaf, I played it over the summer, so that was when everything was around. I also have a feeling that this is going to be a game I have, like, a lot of time in. Because, as of right now, there aren't many games that I can say like, oh yeah, I put like 1,000 or so hours or like this much time into this game. Because I don't know, it's never really been something that I do very often. The only games I've ever been noted to put like 100 plus hours in, like recorded, because some games don't have like an hour count, and so you can play them as long as you want, and you never will know how long it is. But like recorded, like out of all the games that I've played that record your hour times, the longest amount of time I've put in is probably 100 and I think the game records it as 150 hours. The game itself records it as 150 hours, but my 3DS records it as 180 something, and that's Monster Hunter Generations. So, like the original Monster Hunter Generations, not Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, I had like 30 hours on that game. But yeah, that's I think that's my longest recorded count. And then my next couple, my other, oh, I actually missed that one. My other recorded counts are, I have 150 hours in Smash Ultimate, which I am not pleased about. That's a story for another day. Actually, I've talked about it a little bit already, but that's a different, like, I'll get to that more later on. Maybe I'll play Subspace and I'll do a cast for that. That'll be fun. But yeah, so I have 150 hours in Smash Ultimate, maybe 160. Then I have like 130 in Monster Hunter 4, and I have probably a combined total of, like across the Wii U and the 3DS versions, probably... Okay, well I put in 30 on the Wii U, I put in like 10 per new save on 3DS and Wii U, because I made new saves, so it's probably like 60 or 50 plus. My actual save is 130, but then I made new saves. It's probably about another like 180, something like that, just in total. Ooh, my Joy-Cons really are fighting me there. And then I think unrecorded, my longest games are probably Minecraft, because I've played it so much. And I can't really think of many other games that I put just a heaping load of time into. I have like 70 hours in Bloodborne. I have like 80, 90 in Sekiro. I have 100, and I think I have like almost. I think I have like 120 or so in Monster Hunter World. I have 100. I think I have like a little over. I have a couple hours over 100 in New Leaf, Animal Crossing New Leaf. I can't really think of much else, to be honest. I also really have to go to the bathroom. There's one thing these Arnold Palmers do. They're delicious, but they run through me. Alright. Catch this balloon, baby. I think I'm just gonna sell out and end here just so I can go to the bathroom. But, let's just sell. Let's see the payoff. I would catch that beetle just for a little extra money, but I don't have my bug net on me, so... Big rip. Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna finish off this, like these last couple fish. I'll be back. Let's just finish this off. Ugh. Oh, it's pretty hefty price. Nice, alright. I'm going with a good 130k. Alright, I think it's time to wrap this up now. Getting kind of tired, I want to wind down for the night, so catch you guys on the next cast, I suppose? I don't really know. Watch whatever you want to watch on YouTube. If you just stopped by because you just looked bizarre, then, or if you stopped by because it just intrigued you and you don't want to watch it anymore, don't. It's up to you. I'm a very firm believer in watch what you want, in watching what you want to watch on YouTube. So, if you don't want to stick around, don't stick around. Skedaddle. But, alright, well, see you around.